Hello, precious, dear heart. I am so happy that you are here with us. My name is Nunaisi, and I'm your hostess. Please find yourself a comfortable space where you're not going to be interrupted for the next hour. And you may burn a candle or light some incense or burn some essential oils and create a nice space for you to just soften and relax. And please take a couple of deep belly breaths, calling all of yourself right back into your sacred body temple, right here in this moment of time. And you may exhale with a sound. And I invite you to feel your connection to Mother Earth, to her supportive, nurturing, nourishing energy, either through the soles of your feet or through your intention. And so I welcome you into this coming session. Hello everybody, and welcome back to I Rise Summit, the summit where we all discover how to break through and break free from past sexual wounds so we can live the life that we are designed to live. And today with me is a special guest, a woman that I absolutely adore, that I've been following her work for a long time, and her name is Anaiya Sophia. She is a mystic, a storyteller, and an author of so many books. She uses her voice as medicine to heal and reveal the false codex that we have been living under. She's known for showing up as a resource of unapologetic truth and transparent courage. Her heart is both fierce and tender. She carries an oral message that stirs the remembrance of a continuous lineage with the feminine principle that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity, without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. Her books includes, listen to that, Open Your Heart with Kundalini Yoga, Mini Size Me, Pilgrimage of Love, Womb Wisdom, Sacred Sexual Union, The Rose Night, Sacred Relationships, First Feminine Rising, and The Grail King. I am delighted to have you with us. Welcome, Anaya.
Thank you so much. It is a great privilege to be here too.
You wrote so many books. You have a well of knowledge with the feminine principles. Can you share some of your magnificent wisdom with us?
Well, I think, to be honest, the reason I got into this kind of work, connecting to the feminine, opening the feminine, protecting the feminine, is because my earlier life was not that. And I'm an absolute believer that when we step into our full embodied contribution to the world, it will be because of something we have experienced that is the complete opposite of that in our early days. So that's why I come forward with such a big heart, such a deep, deep desire to be genuine and sincere, and with, the joy and enthusiasm of very, very different.
Right. And so I would love to hear from you. I know you studied the trauma release in the brain.
Oh, yeah. Yes. My partner and I, we're both delving into and researching and taking part in many forms of trauma release techniques. And we've been looking at the different forms of trauma. I've had something called shock trauma, something that happened as an adult for a couple of years. It was an ongoing being connected to a shocking consequence for 2 years. And that developed a trauma within me. Whereas my partner, he has something called developmental trauma, which is a very slow and long burn of traumatic sequences again and again and again, but very, very subtle. So we both have trauma, but in completely different ways. And so obviously we're very keen to heal this. And so we've been throwing ourselves into all of these techniques and, you know, applying certain aspects to our lifestyle, because it's not a luxury, but a necessity. And the great, great good news is these techniques are very, very quick to take hold. And they are so incredibly simple. It really is like one of them that we didn't think of doing this kind of thing, that we see the whole animal kingdom doing every single day. You know, us humans, we're not that dissimilar. So trauma and its release is something that's really interesting for me at the moment.
Right. And we all experience trauma in some way, form, or shape, especially when it comes to our sexuality. I know that even I experienced molestation in my childhood years, and it was gentle. It was it wasn't forceful or violent in any form, but it still created so much trauma in my body and in my sexual flow and in my orgasmic flow. And so we all experience trauma. And can you share some of your techniques to break through, to break free from it?
Absolutely. It's definitely worth spending a little bit of time just scanning back, you know, to our childhood and school days, because sexual trespass has a huge spectrum of, you know, something you've just mentioned. And I can remember something even more subtle, which is when the woodwork teacher put his hand on my bare thigh. You know, I went to school in the 80s, so we all wore over the knee socks. And of course, by the time we got to school, we turned our waistband over and over and over so that we had like a little mini skirt on. You know, we left the home with our knee-high skirt. By the time we got to school, we had a thigh-high skirt. And so we were playing, you know, with 13, 14 years old. And so by the time you've sat down, the skirt has risen a little bit and you've got your knee-high sock on show as well. And I remember the male woodwork teacher leaning over, congratulating me on my work, but putting his fleshy hand on my fleshy thigh. And that felt horrible. And that is what I mean by that is a trespass. That still needs to be noted in the psyche. And of course, ranging all the way over to the other side of the spectrum, which is a full-on, you know, forced rape or forced interference. So to give us the sacred space, just, you know, to wander back very, very gently, like saying earlier in the call, we don't need to analyze, we don't need to figure anything out, but just ask the self very quietly, very gently, is my body carrying an impression of a trespass? And I always have the feeling that if it went into the body via touch, it's going to come out of the body the same way. So, as I was mentioning, my right thigh did carry an imprint of a woodwork teacher's hand. That is male. So I knew when I was ready enough, when I was steady enough, when I had gathered myself together, I knew one day I would have to ask a brother, a male, to very consciously, and together we'll do this together. He would consciously, it seems so simple what I'm saying, but it was a very big deal. He stood in the same position. He leaned over as if to examine my woodwork. And then he came in with the hand. And we're breathing and we're breathing and we're breathing. And I haven't drifted off. And he makes contact in exactly the same way as I remember it. Now, out of me, in that moment, came the real trauma of that moment, because I didn't show it when I was a schoolgirl. I just pretended it wasn't happening. And so the shaking came, the anger came, the how touch my leg came, and then the tears came. And that was when I realized, wow, if we really do have these trusted friends at our side in both male and female form, we can, without analysis, without raking it up again, we can just reenact appropriate situations so that the physical memory encoded in the body can very gently disperse.
Right. It's like unlocking the energy that has been wired with the overwhelming emotional situation at the time, that as a young girl, you didn't have enough resource to deal with at the time. So the survival mechanism of your body was to push it somewhere and
Yes.
and keep it at bay. So keep that energy locked somewhere in the body. And that energy actually sits in the body and requires energy to keep it there.
Yes.
So by doing that, you're actually releasing it out and claiming more of your life force energy back into your body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, the shame. I feel the shame is the layer that sits over the top of everything. Right. So yes, exactly. All of those mechanics. And then finally, a last level, which is the shame, which is the we don't talk about this. I'm not going to go home and tell mum and dad. I'm not going to tell my friends. I'm certainly not going to tell him. And I'm actually not going to tell myself.
Right.
I'm just going to ignore.
Right.
And put it over there in the shame corner.
Right. And probably on top of that, there is that self-blame. Maybe it's because of me, maybe because I wore my skirt so short. So it's actually I am to blame. And that whole loop of blame and guilt and shame, which is, I don't think there's one session that shame did not came up. It's such a potent grip on our life, and especially when it comes to our sexuality, with all the messages that we got from society and with all our individual private experiences that we had. So it's a huge one.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And you know, the new world that's already on our horizon, young girls, young pubescent girls, which is what I was back then, we have the right to explore and experiment. And if we want to hoist our skirt up, we hoist it up. We want to wear over the knee socks, go for it. We do not have to adapt, because the opposite gender cannot handle what it's seeing pass through us. It's not our body that is causing the problem in the other gender. It's what is flowing through us. It's our spirit, our Shakti, our essence. That is the attraction and repulsion. But hey, tough, because this Shakti, this essence, is what is going to bring through the feminine principle to the whole world, not just the world of humans, the world of nature, the world of animals, the world of elements. We have to be able to be absolute, fear it, and not try to shut it down in any way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the essence of the feminine that will bring the healing energy that the planet is so calling for.
Yes, yeah. Because this energy, this is the spirit of joy, playfulness, spontaneity, color, expression. delight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you mentioned shaking as one way to get that trauma
Yes.
out of the body. And I remember back when I just arrived to South Africa, I was in my early 20s, 21, and I had this experience where I was aimed with a gunpoint. And it's amazing as at that very moment, there was no fear. There was total awareness of how do I get myself out of there. There was superpower that I don't even know where it came from. But I'm not going to get into the details of the story. But when I managed to get out of there, my body went into a total shaking convulsions.
Yes.
And then came laughter. I laughed like crazy, and then came the tears.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really feel that this is the natural process of the body, and I did not held trauma in my body related to that incident. It felt like I really dealt with it, and it just left my body. I did not hold on to it.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what we're talking about, is that natural ability of the body to heal itself by using our inner resources. So can you talk more about that, and if you have more to add?
Yeah. Well, your experience is exactly the right experience. That is what will happen to us, hopefully, if we're open and if it's powerful enough, to override our conditioning, especially in the West, of being in control, appearing a certain way. Whatever you do, don't let the mask or armor show. But most of us have already a condition to not let our natural traumatic response show. And so, like an embedding piece that's in the body, because of the shock not being able to flow through like it did with you, it can also leave behind a section in the brain that also carries exactly the same template. So yes, I'm a great believer in somatic, healthy, holy touch upon the body where the trauma came in. But we will also have to take a little look at that place in the brain that remembers that impact. So one of my favorite exercises is to lie down on the floor with our knees bent. If we're doing yoga or Pilates, it looks like we're about to do a pelvic raise. So everything's totally relaxed, our arms are open, and then we just let our knees fall open. And we just stay there, breathing long and deep. And then suddenly, spontaneously, you will hit a certain angle where you cannot stop shaking. And that's what we're looking for. And we stay there for about 20 minutes or even 30, just shaking, shaking, shaking. The moment we straighten our legs and lay down properly, it will stop. So we do have a little control mechanism if we get scared about just how wild it's becoming. But if we can, we don't stop. We go for it. I would say every other day. Maybe if it's a big event that's fresh, every day. Just let your knees fall open, the soles of the feet are on the ground, and you will find an angle that sets off this spontaneous shaking in the thighs, in the butt, in the stomach. I mean, I was doing strange little things. I was like lifting up with my chest, and my chin wanted to move around. And that's what it's about. It's getting out of the way, letting your body take the shape and convulsion that it needs to take. Yeah.
This is gold right there. This is such an amazing exercise. I've done it before, and I know it is, it's not something you can actually understand with the mind. It's something that you have to trust that your body knows what to do and how to do it. And this is one exercise to really unlock that piece that is still wired into your system, and let it just leave you in a in a easy way. So yeah, do you recommend to practice it on your own, or in yeah, with the presence of somebody you trust?
Yes, myself and my partner, we done it together. So we just Googled trauma release techniques and we found this one with the knees. And because we were in the same room, because at first it's a little bit funny, but that's only a cover. We were laughing and joking around because when it first starts, you are surprised. Legs are moving all by themselves, and it seems as if they won't stop, but with a little bit of willpower, everything can stop. So there was a lot of laughing and joking. And then, of course, then the real material started to rise up. So it might be nice to be with a trusted friend just that first time, in case, like us, you're a little bit concerned. Wow, what's going on with my body? It's doing something beyond my control. And so just to have the reassurance of another friend. And also, whilst that shaking's going on, you on the inside are looking to keep that long, deep breathing, the absolute surrender in the rest of the body. Keep out of the way. Get that thinking mind quiet.
Right.
And you might find that at the end, you curl up into fetus and you have a really necessary cry, and that lovely friend can rub your back if that doesn't interrupt your process.
Right. So crying and laughing is our medicine. This is one gift that we received, and we have to use it in order to heal. This is just, there's no bypassing around it. So allow yourself to cry and to laugh and to breathe and to shake and to process all those emotions, because on the other side of it, there is the land of bliss and ecstasy and pure potential for creativity and growth and all the gifts that you innately have in your body, and maybe at the moment are blocked by all those experiences that are still sitting there and waiting to be released. Right. And any other techniques that you can mention?
I have been working in this area called Sacred Body Awakening, which is a women's only gathering, where if we are in a sexual shutdown or an intimate shutdown, or maybe we've just had a child, or maybe we're in menopause, where it feels as if our sexual self has done this terrific vanishing act.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, let me just dispel that, beloved ladies. The sexual self does not disappear. It is hiding. It is hiding, and most likely for very, very good and accurate reasons. But in the presence of woman, and in the presence of a trusted sisterhood, a sacred sisterhood, in that field, in that very feminine, safe field, we can begin to go on an excavation. Where is my sexual self? And I feel that perhaps what is actually happening is you have reached the end of the conditioned sexual self, where you realize this is not who I am at all. I don't like doing this at all. This is not my genuine essence. And all that is needed is a bridge, an experimental bridge with other sisters, where you can actually genuinely connect with your real sexual self beyond the matrix, beyond what school and partners and magazines and movies could ever hope to teach us, and find the Shakti, the feminine essence within you. Who are you? What are you? How do you sound? How do you breathe? And when you have that lovely permission where you realize, oh my God, I can do, say, be anything with these women, the field is limitless. And that is a very deep bonding exercise to have with another woman who will encourage you, join with you, open a safety field around you, and say, find your sexual self.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with you. I've been holding women's circles and red tents in festivals, and I know that there's so much magic when women come together and they drop that need to judge or put anyone down, and they come with their heart open and they see that they can relate to every other story that women share from their heart, because they can relate. They either experience in the past or even in present, they find a lot of similarity, or even if it's something that will happen in the future, there is some collective intelligence that runs through women, and by mirroring that acceptance and that love, women allow themselves to come out of their shells, of their armors that they had to create in order to survive in these times of a patriarchal society that we all emerging from.
Yes.
And so much magic is happening. So absolutely, sisterhood is vital force for our evolution.
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And also creating this Facebook group, which is for this summit, where women can come and genuinely share their process and their aha moments and their feelings and where they are at, and be witnessed and supported by other conscious women.
Mm. What I love about women's groups is so much is in motion, so much healing is taking place. It's only a short space of time before ancestors come in, before the natural world comes in, you know, the places on this earth that we absolutely love, deserts, oceans, mountains. And that's what I love about the feminine principle. It's rarely only concerned with the self. You know, as soon as we've had just a taste of healing, we want everything else to start healing. You know, that unification. It's never about I, but always about us. And that's what really gets me very excited. That's kind of like a sexual buzz for me, when what we are expands to include, you know, the terrible things we're seeing on Facebook. And so we can turn up for those terrible things in the joy, in the ecstasy and the bliss of sisterhood. So we don't have to wail, we don't have to fall apart because of what the world is going through. You know, we can uplift each other to bear witness to the atrocities, but be the opposite energy to that atrocity. Be the ecstasy. Look at that atrocity in ecstasy. Look at that sorrow in joy. You know, and that's what women can do. We elevate and expand one another.
Right. And that's why it's so important that the healing starts with you first. You know, I rise, and when I rise, I want everybody else to rise around me, because that is the natural force. And that is why so many leaders, and I see with all the beautiful experts on this summit, they all have been through traumatic childhood experiences and sexual abuse, and that's why they do the work that they do today, because they managed to heal it within themselves, and now they just want to offer it to the entire world.
Absolutely. If there's a good leader or way shower out there, it is not because they had the perfect childhood. No. It is because they had a challenging childhood. And yes, they've got the other side of it. And when you are the other side of it, comes the love, the gift of that dark night. which is the love and compassion for others in a similar place.
Right. And this is exactly what the world is calling for. More women to step into their leadership, to access their unique gifts, to share it with the loved ones and the world.
Absolutely. I'm reading Brené Brown's Dare to Lead book at the moment. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like, as a European, we see this word leadership and we kind of go, ooh, that looks interesting. Oh, but no, I can't. That's just the European psyche. But, I'm half Irish, so I've got a fire in me. I've got an edge. And, I'm reading this book going, yeah, I am going to lead. I am going to stand. I'm going to rise up even more. Why not? And that's what I admire so much about the American people, the American psyche. They have no problem with the word leadership. and I look to that glorious spirit, and I go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what I love about all of us, different nations. We all have a combined psyche that goes with our nation, Australian, European, American. And that's another thing I absolutely love about coming together in circle.
Yeah.
The combination of our way of being human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's quite, I was born in Latvia, grew up in Israel, living in South Africa for over 20 years. So I'm quite a mix of quite a lot of nationality pain body also that I'm carrying for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Irish thing comes the, the sexual piece. So that is why I can really understand the gravitas of sexual wounding. The Catholic Church, the heavy Catholic Church, and also being Irish, poverty, lack, the fear that your resources are going to be taken any moment, going back to the potato famine. That's in there. This is part of my makeup. So yeah, once we get working on our, the actual wounding of our incarnation, then the ancestors go, oh, can we have some? But to the feminine, to the woman, no problem.
Right.
There's never a selfishness in the feminine essence. It's like, yeah, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. My heart is endless. Let's just keep going.
Right. And when we heal it in ourselves, we also heal it in our lineage, and we heal it for generations to come. So I feel that we are now in very, very special times, that we have the freedom to speak in most places in the world, which we never had before, and connect through social media and through the internet. And this is where we actually can do the work, and we can't heal it until we feel it. It's just that's as simple as that. We have to feel all the feelings, and once we feel them fully, then we can be free from the grip of them.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. And I feel the heart, I think the era we're going into now, the heart is going to be the reflecting agent. So in the patriarchal time that we're just coming out of, the head was the main apparatus that caused the manifestation of the world around us, everything according to the head. I believe we're going into an era now where the heart is going to be that forward-moving migratory compass. And of course, the more we open the heart, the more the heart can reflect back to us what it is. So hopefully we're going into a realm, a world that is going to be the reflection of the heart. not a community, but a society based upon heart choices, heart wisdom.
Right. On a cosmic level, we enter in the heart chakra. So we come in from the solar plexus chakra, which is all about power, and obviously what comes with it. It's ego and greed and the shadow part of power. And we enter in the heart chakra, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting times. It's
It
really
is. It
exciting
is.
times.
And that's something I really want to get across with our conversation today, because we can look out, especially on social media, and we can see terrible things. And believe you me, terrible things are happening. And we're going to see more and more of the wizard behind the veil. You know, more and more stories and revelations are going to come out. But what I want our conversation to flag up is that we are in a process of moving to this joyful, faithful, heart-filled realm, world, and to always just hold that in your hearts. Don't let the dying of the old world overwhelm you, and don't pay too much attention to what you're reading. If it's news, it's probably fake. But to be available to grieve anyway, whether the story's true or not. But know that something very, very good is coming. And it's very, very aware of you and your place in it. There's a little place carved out. It's got your name on it. This is your spot. Always remember the creator is benevolent. It's a kind, loving, comforting, deeply connected presence that wants its offspring back.
In bliss and joy and ecstasy and pleasure and all of that. This is the way to meet the divine. And we can't go there without also experiencing fully the grief and the sadness and the heartbreak that we all as human beings will experience at one point in our life. We always, all of us will lose somebody we love. We all gonna have our heart broken at least a couple of times. Yeah, this is part of the spectrum of being human. And when when you allow yourself to dive deep into the realms of all the feelings without judgment, without rejection, and without attachment also to the bliss and the ecstasy, then the richness of the experience is what brings us to the next level of our evolution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And look at you. You are living proof of this.
And so are you. I just feel your love and your open heart and your radiance. You are so beautiful and so inspiring. And so thank you for being you.
Likewise, my love. Likewise.
Yeah, so we are coming to the end of our time together, sadly, because I've been utterly enjoying this conversation. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I would like to ask you if there's any takeaways that you would like to offer to our audience.
Yes, we mentioned this earlier. Within woman, at the beginning of the healing journey, especially when it comes to sovereign sexuality, you will probably feel that there's a tug of war within you. There's one part of you that's the bad girl, Lilith. There's another part of you that is the good girl, which is Eve. And it's kind of like a light and dark sexual power struggle. The real you is the union of these two archetypes. But we will have to take a real journey to retrieve them back. For the yogi spiritual types, we will probably be an Eve character that's banished Lilith because she's so naughty and so outrageous. And if we're kind of like, if we're in business, if we have a lot of power, we will probably be in our Lilith archetype, and we've banned Pretender. She falls in love so deeply, and that power could be under threat if we let too much Eve in. So whatever lifestyle we're in, we have to go get the other. And we have to bring them back together like sisters, literally get them face to face so that they can eventually embrace. And it can't be something that's done in meditation. My feeling is go out there physically, go out there, go to an environment where you're likely to spot your Eve or your Lilith, and make it very, very conscious. And through the process of being in that environment, call your essence back to meet the other version of yourself on the inside. So for instance, if I was your classical spiritual type, where did I find my Lilith? I had to go to a sex show in Portland, Oregon. That's what I mean. You gotta make it real. I was so afraid and interested. I thought this little sex club was going to be seedy and horrible and scary. No, not at all. It was very polite, people were very kind and welcoming. I thought I was going to be the only woman there. Nope, at all. And to top it off, the stripper of the night decided to chat with me at my table and have a conversation. I didn't realize I was talking to the main stripper until 10 minutes has passed, and I said, so what the heck are you doing here? She says, well, I'm on in about 10 minutes. And I explained vulnerably what I was doing. I said, well, I'm here to connect with my Lilith, because I have a strong Lilith, but I've banished her, and this is where I know I'm going to find her. And she said, well, in that case, I'm going to do a dance just for you.
Oh, wow.
She did. She danced on my table. The kind of things you see in the movie. She stepped and and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Amazing healing moment.
Yeah.
Not scary.
Especially
I imagine that my Lilith. Yeah. Totally. It was so healing. And I knew the divine had set it up, because why am I chatting with the stripper? Why am I opening up to her? This was a heavenly initiation, not a seedy, dark journey into a threatening and frightening place. No. And so for the other types who are in their Lilith, maybe you go to a bhajan concert. Maybe you start getting a little bit devotional, a little bit open in the heart, a little bit available to be felt and to feel. Bingo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So bring both into life and balance. And one way that I know activates my Lilith is dancing.
Yes.
So go dancing. That's one way to tap into her energy.
Yes. Yeah.
And we also have them in different cycles of our life, right? I feel that when I became a mother, Eve was very potent in my being. And when I go party with my girlfriends, I leave Eve at home and Lilith is there to play.
That's beautiful. That is so healthy. That's what I wish for every woman. A graceful, seamless transition from one to the other, neither favoring one or the other. Like changing gears in a car, just really graceful, without judgment, without favoritism.
Right. Yeah, like our masculine and feminine. It's like the sun and the moon, having them both in peace and love affair.
Yeah.
And so I know that you have a beautiful gift that you offer in our audience. Would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Yes, well, I think the free gift should be the transmission to unify your Lilith and Eve energy. So this is a spoken word journey where we can come into energy used, by the invocation of the word, of finding those two parts of ourselves and bringing them back together inside of our being. And that'll give you a frequency that may attract a very real situation to make it really real. Because the transmissions and the meditations and prayers are wonderful, but they're not the full initiation. The full initiation is where it is live and it's happening and you are in it.
Right. That sounds absolutely yummy.
Yay.
So grab that gift and let your Eve and Lilith come to the surface and meet them. Meet the essence of each of those energies and invite it into your life and be conscious and aware about how it comes to play and dance in your own being. Right. And if a woman wants to work directly with you or get hold of you, what's the best way?
Well, that would be my website, which is my name, anayasophia.com. You'll find me being quite active on Facebook, Instagram, all the usual places. But the website's probably the best place to turn up, first of all.
Right. And also subscribe to her newsletter, because I'm getting all your beautiful emails with transmissions and just so much valuable content. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna say ciao, everybody, until the next time, and sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for being with us on this session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did enjoy making it. Please share all your comments, insights, takeaways, questions in the comments below, and spread it with your girlfriends and sisters and friends so this healing can touch as many women as possible. And you may also purchase the All Access Pass to have lifetime access to this resource so you can revisit it and dive deeper again and again. And thank you to the Sacred Feminine Mystery School for sponsoring this summit. I wish you blessings on your journey, and until we meet again, all my love. Namaste.